All right. Happy Good Friday, everybody. It's so good to see all of you all today. And at the time of this video, it's Good Friday, 2 days before Easter. And even now, there are probably people all over the place that are preparing for a Good Friday service. I'll be at one myself, but wanted to come and spend a few minutes. Um, a lot of pastors, minister leaders will be and have been all week doing lots and lots and lots of preparation for Easter this weekend. Um, and in many ways, the church, or let me say it this way, Easter has been described as the Super Bowl for the church. And rightfully so. Easter, it's a big deal, y'all. It's a big deal. And it is something that our entire faith hinges on. It's something that is important in the life of the church. It's important to believers all over the place. And so I wanted to come just for a few minutes and I wanted to give you just a few things to think about after Easter, post Easter. Um, Churches are spending marketing dollars to get people to come to Easter, rightfully so. Buildings are being cleaned and done. Even at the church where I serve, I mean, we've invested in redoing the parking lot because we want to welcome all kinds of new people to our church, and we want to put the best foot forward. It's like cleaning your house when you know that you've got guests coming in. Lots of pastors and churches have done evangelistic kind of sermon series to prepare their church to share the good news of the gospel with people, um, and all of those kinds of things. And so, all of that is right. All of that is good. None of that is bad. Um, and in full disclosure, I am an executive pastor, so my mind thinks in terms of strategy, quality control, vision implementation. Um, thinks in terms of organization, systems. I wrote a book even on it, right? Church Strategies and Ministry Systems. You can get that book anywhere. But I wrote down 7 things that I've had several churches that I've consulted with that have reached out to me for various questions over the last several months and several weeks as they lead up to Easter. Things that I've been thinking about for our own church that we need to make sure that we're doing, that we're following up with, that we're honoring. And then I want to share this in a way that as you listen to this, some of you may be listening to this live and some of you may listen to this later. I want to give you the opportunity to share this with individuals that are, I want to give you an opportunity to share this with individuals that are helping to lead your churches. And so we're on multiple platforms right now, so feel free to share this or tag other people that may benefit from it. So what should happen in your church? How should you be thinking? What should you be doing after Easter is over? So the first thing I want to give you is you should be concerned about sustained excellence. And I'll take some time and I'll type some of these things on the screen as well. Sustained excellence. What does that mean? So as I just alluded to, there's a lot of churches that are cleaning their building and making sure that their production is tight, making sure the videos run well, making sure that the worship is good, making sure they have enough volunteers, all those kinds of things. Well, that needs to happen and be sustained even after Easter is over. Why? Let's just think about this for a moment. If 25%, 30% of the people that will visit your church and come to your church on Easter come back the following week, which you hope that they do, will they see the same level of attention to detail, excellence, follow through, efficiency, and effectiveness? That needs to happen. Why? Because if you're only putting on a show for them that is not a part of your normal culture, right? If your services are tight, you're able to do everything in a certain amount of time, it's not long, you walk through scripts and walk through what people are going to say, all of those things, you need to have that. If that's important enough for Easter, it's important enough for every Sunday. Okay, so I want to invite you to really think about sustained success, or sustained excellence, I should say. That's the first thing. Number two, how are you going to follow up? How are you going to follow up with people that attend your church for Easter? How are you going to follow up with them? How are you going to get there or capture their information. Is that QR codes? Is that a texting code? Is that a connection form? How are you going to do that? How are you going to engage with them? If your church doesn't have a team of people that intentionally will input data after Sunday, on Sunday, or something to that effect, when are they going to put the data in? When will you have the right information so that you can then follow up with them, whether that's through text or phone call or voicemail, or mailing a letter, whatever that process, whatever that procedure is, how are you going to follow up with them effectively? That's really, really important. And, when I go to a store, I'm not going to name stores right now because I don't want to distract in terms of what I'm saying, but many stores, when you get the receipt, now they're gathering your data. When you join an email list, they're following up with you. How was the service? What did you enjoy? We'd love to welcome you back. We're thankful that you came. We're thankful that you came to visit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. As a church, don't just let people come into your building and then you have no way of capturing their data or their information just for you to be able to follow up with them, even if it's only to say, thank you for coming to visit our church. We know you've got lots of options where you could visit and where you could have worshiped. So thank you so much for coming to visit and to hang out with our church. So that's number 2. All right. Number 3. Okay. Number 3 is important. And that is this: find ways to show appreciation to your people. You've got so many people that are volunteering to help make Sunday happen for you. Find ways to say thank you to them. Please don't take it for granted that people know you appreciate them. Intentionally say out loud, thank you for serving. Thank you for sacrificing, especially if you're at a church that has more than one service, especially if you have at a church that has more than one service. Please turn around and say thank you to these folks. Find ways to appreciate them. And let me show you how some of that could look in terms of appreciating some of your people. That could look like handwritten cards that you provide for them. That could look like providing a meal, refreshments, snacks, beverages, breakfast, lunch for them. That could look like $5 gift cards to Starbucks or coffee place where that may be local to you. It could be, we're going to offer you all a thank you dinner the following Sunday or some point during the week. It could be getting a list of everybody that signed up to serve at your church, and you literally that week call every single one of them and personally say thank you for serving. It can look a lot of different ways and it can take a lot of different forms, but the larger idea is at your church, and for those of you that are joining in with us, I am giving 7 ideas of things that you should be thinking about and doing after Easter's over with, okay? So this is number 3. And so I'm saying that you've got to make space to show appreciation to your people. So often we have people serve and volunteer in our churches, and we don't say thank you. And it's important for us to express our appreciation to people as they are investing their time, their talent, their treasure, that we appreciate them. And it doesn't need to be like this highfalutin, disconnected, inhumane, pompous, political, we just want to show, no, be specific. Like, thank you so much. Like today is Good Friday today. When I left my church, when I left our church today, I was running errands, of course, working for stuff for Sundays. We had people working in the kids ministry, cutting things, making supplies, making bags. This week, we've had people hanging picture banners and photo backdrops. We've had people making visitor bags. We've had people sending out emails. We've had people making phone calls. I mean, all kinds of things and ways that we've had people to serve this week. And each time I was like, thank y'all so much for serving. Our pastor, our staff, others have come by and said, thank you so much for serving. We're offering a light breakfast, a continental breakfast, and a lunch for our volunteers that are serving all 3 services. We have 3 services on Sunday. Now, if somebody's just serving one Sunday, obviously they won't they won't get that lunch or whatever, but we're making space to show our appreciation to people. And that, I think that's really, really important, and really vital. If this is helpful, y'all put some comments in the chat. Let me know. I think that's really good. So here's the next thing. Number 4, So once you get people to your church for Easter, here's the next thing I want you to be thinking about. What is our next sermon series? What does our next Bible study look like? So you got all these new people that are coming to visit your church. They're coming on Easter. Are you giving them a next step? Hey, we'd love to invite you to this sermon series that we're doing that starts next Sunday. Here's what we're going to be talking about. You've got a graphic design for it. Throw that graphic up so that they can see that. That is, if you have screens at your church, let them know that we are intentional in terms of what we're preaching. We're not just freestyling it. We don't have, Saturday night specials in terms of what we're preaching. Intentionally say to them, like, here's what we're preaching about. Here's what we're talking about. We'd love to have you to come back. And here's why we think this is important. What are your Bible study? What is your Bible study going to be after Easter? Is it going to be something that is a felt need, something that people are already interested in or thinking about, or a challenge that people have in culture? And the list is endless of the kinds of questions that are out there in culture that the church can step into and answer. And this is a space you don't have to avoid some of the uncomfortable and hard topics or subjects that sometimes the church has been known to avoid. No, run right towards the hard conversation. Run right towards the questions that people are asking, and that oftentimes will give people an opportunity to come and get engaged in your church. So that's number 4. That's number 4. All right. Here's the next thing that I want to give you. And I'm typing these in there. I didn't pre-plan to type these in there, but I want to give this to you visually. All right. So the first thing that we talked about is sustained excellence. Okay, sustained excellence. We're talking about 7 things that you should be thinking about at your church after Easter. Okay, what do we need to be processing? Because everybody is ramping up and all the adrenaline and the momentum is moving towards Easter Sunday. But here's 7 things you need to be thinking about after that. Number 1 is sustained excellence. How are we going to sustain excellence after Sunday? Number 2, what are your follow-up procedures? How are we going to get in people's data, people's information to follow up with them and thank them? Number 3, how are we going to appreciate the people that are serving and sacrificing to help make Sunday happen, and even all week long to lead up to Easter? That's really important. Number 4, what is going to be your next sermon, your next Bible study that you need to be thinking about to get people interested and engaged in the life of your church beyond just Sunday, right? If all your church is doing is Sunday, I can tell you now that's not enough. People are hungry in our culture today for discipleship, for resources, for conversations, for community, all those things. And so you need to have those things in place. If you've got growth groups, or we call them growth groups at our church, but if you've got small groups at your church, when is the next small groups a window or season or semester, however you do that at your church? Advertise that. Tell people, here, this is an opportunity for you to come and get connected. If you have prayer at your church, when are you praying? All those kinds of things. If you've got different ministries that people can plug into, you got to put this in a way that makes it palatable and easy for them to grab a hold of it. If you've got a men's ministry, a women's ministry, if you've got next generation ministry, if you got couples ministry, singles ministry, college, young adult, whatever it is, find ways to communicate those things to people, and be very careful about insider language. Here's the next one, y'all. This is one that I've heard so many churches forget about, and that is, do you have a team of people, and have you had conversations about how we're going to clean the building up, clean the campus up, and tear things down? If you are building stages, if you're in another facility, if you rented a facility, a lot of churches do that so that they can do one service. What does that tear down look like? What does that cleanup look like? And you need to, really think about who is our team that's going to do this, because here's the deal. Like, everybody's working. Everybody's ramping up for the services. And as soon as those services are over with, a lot of people are thinking, man, I'm tired. It's been a long week. It's been a long series of weeks. It's been a long month gearing up for this. All of the adrenaline is there. All the momentum is towards that. Now I'm hungry. I'm ready to take my Sunday afternoon nap and move on. But then Sunday night, Monday, the building is a mess. Okay. The stuff that we rented has to be taken back. Invoices have to be closed out. Papers have to be, all kinds of things that have to be done. So be intentional to think about, what does our clean up? What does our tear down look like? So number 1, sustained excellence. And I hopefully this is helpful for y'all. Number 2, follow-up procedures. Number 3, appreciation of your people. Number 4, your next sermon series or your next Bible study. Next steps, basically, is what I'm talking about. Number 5, what does the clean up and the tear down look like? Here's number 6. When are you hosting or having a meeting to discuss what went well and what didn't go well? Okay. When are you going to discuss? When are you convening a meeting of your leaders, your staff, whoever, to actually talk about Easter and really get feedback, right? If you're writing notes, you're taking notes. What I'm talking about right now really is about feedback. Very often in the church spaces, we don't create an atmosphere where people can get feedback for what's going on. We don't make space for them to have feedback for what has taken place, ideas that they have to improve for next year or the next thing that we're hosting, gaps that we need to close. And it's been said that if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, you need a team. So you need to give your team space to provide feedback for what's taking place and for what's happening. Okay. I'm gonna give y'all this last one really fast. Number one, sustained excellence. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about 7 things you need to be thinking about after Easter. I want to make this as fast as I possibly could so you can share this with others in not too long. So sustained excellence. Number 2 is follow-up procedures. Number 3 is appreciation of your people. Number 4 is what are the next steps, next sermon series, Bible studies, next steps for engagement, community, and all of those things. Have you processed and talked about clean up and tear down? What is the meeting for follow-up and to discuss? But here's the last one that's really important. Have you intentionally built in time to recharge? That's both for the pastor, that's for your volunteers, that's for your team, especially if your pastor or your staff or your leaders are bivocational. Again, y'all, there's so much adrenaline and so much momentum that moves towards making Easter happen, or any big day, any big program for that matter, that sometimes, like we call it the hangover, right? The Easter hangover. So what day next week or what day next month are you going to press pause on your calendar, on your facility, on your building, all of those things to give people space to really, really recharge and kind of just breathe for a moment, woosah, so that they can kind of get themselves together. So yeah, that's I want to share that really fast and give you guys an opportunity to be thinking about those things. I'm going to start doing more videos like this as an executive pastor, because I believe that it's really time for the church to make space for those that have the gift of administration. I really think that it's time for the body of Christ to make space for those that have the gift of administration. And so I think what I'm going to start calling these particular videos is XP explanations, right? Executive pastor explanations. Even I'm going to do a video talking about what is an executive pastor, because I've seen people now start to abuse that title and abuse what that means. And so I want to provide context and clarity, even some history about what that looks like. So thank y'all for listening. I don't want to make this much longer than it has to be. You can go back. I just gave 7 things that I believe every church, every pastor, every ministry leader should be thinking about after Easter, or to prepare for after Easter. So if you missed it on whatever platform, feel free to go back and listen to it, watch it, and feel free to comment in the comments on the post, and let me know what you think about this. And if there's questions that you have that I can answer, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me right here in the corner there. You see my social media handles. My website right there is my name, ChristopherJHarris.com. My platform for ministry as it relates to staffing and coaching and those kinds of things, diversechurchjobs.com. Would love to have you connect with me there. But in the meantime, I'm so glad to have you all tune in, and we'll see y'all the next time. I'm praying for every church to have a mind-blowing Easter resurrection weekend. Y'all be good. Happy Easter. Peace.